are really helpful, or I guess Baller works here too. But the weapons that use those specials is less important.
Interesting. So that's where we'll see a little bit more flexibility in weapon comps. We'll see if that's reflected anything here. And anything here, or if people will simply default to their tried and trusted and true weapons coming out on both sides. It's relatively similar compositions in some senses. Of course, Nozzle on one side, and we do see Price Lusher. No, sorry, not even Price Lusher, but I think Nozzle was the one that really sticks out for me, as well as the Splatling. Beyond that, we'll go ahead and get underway here. 30 seconds in. Blue side does have control of most of the zones here.
I was gonna say, how's that not capped yet?
I am curious. As soon as they might have been able to get control with the splat on top of zones, the person activates the baller, forces the person to return back to base. And my goodness, how is Dexterity the team to get on top of at least zones at the beginning? And apparently that will be the case for now. And it will be Squishy dipping and diving their way through. But that being said, Dexterity will have to respond on the defensive as soon as we say that, as the team that so often jumped out to the great start that they did will be able to recuperate and get control of zones.
Absolutely, that Inkjet there was really good pushing back the opposing team. Dexterity is going to have to regroup, I think, if they want to push back into zone.
They will have to indeed. Kanai, in the meantime, are doing a good job of keeping up and staying afloat, though, and that can't be understated here. This is a great back and forth. We're seeing Neppy bringing the Brella out at the precisely exact time they need to, but unfortunately going up the conveyor belt and not calling out Squishy in a great position to be able to at least get a push onto the other side of zones, forces the super jump back, and now they should be able to take care of zone if they're able to take care of the blaster here around the inflatable. That is a trade, but that's not a favorable trade. And I believe Kanai able to stay in this one with the bubbles coming out. Yep, this should be the lead for them. And yeah, control of both zones for them. Is Neppy able to help that advance that one?
Yeah, what's really important on this map too is if they get into your far left side, you want to enter from that left side to push back through zone, because otherwise you just end up pincered between opponents. Now, it's looking like Kanai hasn't quite pushed up that far yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 2 minutes we see them going that way.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, I don't know, they've shown resiliency across the board either way. No penalty for Kanai here, and forcing super jumps back left and right. This is looking fairly promising potentially for the knockout here, but it really will depend. Will Neppy and company be able to stack themselves in a way to prevent them from even entering the zones? The answer might be no to start with. Don't have enough of that left side towards the conveyor belt cover, and it will be at least a couple of members from Dexterity moving on through. Stingray does come through as well, does catch out a couple players, but will they catch them out in the right places? I think the answer is no here for now. It's a 3v3 in the middle. Close contention everywhere. Literally, I don't know what's happening. Siren going down, Tuna going down. Dexterity, I believe, comes out on top. That's the wipe, as you said. Nicely done.
Now, Squishy moving here over. This is I'm talking about. If Kanai wants to get back in, they're gonna have to come over and take this side first before they move to zone, because otherwise, they're just gonna end up pincered between members of Dexterity.
Pincered indeed. That baller does come out. Another baller to follow it up. It's a 2v1 towards the middle. Ink Armor does come out to give the advantage to Squishy, but will it be enough? They have to play against that conveyor belt, and Squishy will, against his better judgment, will be able to. Position where they're able to distract some attention from the middle zone, but it's actually not in Neppy's favor. That's actually going to be at least some control taken by the other side before Neppy and company are able to take it right on back.
3 down on the side of Dexterity there too, so they're going to need to regain control here very quickly. They're into the last minute of the match, and if they don't get back out here to mid and start working down that penalty, it's going to be a short game.
As short as, 45 seconds.
Well,
it can,
as short as a full 5-minute match,
We're heading into the last dying moments here. Dexterity is showing some promise, but does have that penalty to wind down through Ryan. I don't know how you're not dead yet, mate. Able to at least take control again, but that's a pretty odd position as the Nozzle knows to get caught up, and bubbles are coming out, though. They have to watch out for the baller as well. This is going to be a tricky one to see them come out on top of, but will it be enough? The baller explodes in front of the inflatable. but it's still plenty fine to make sure they get that penalty on the board. They ensure Dexterity able to come back, forces a loss of control, but the damage is done. That penalty and that
Where did
total is
Squishy even
massive.
come from?
I have no flipping idea. With 3 seconds left to go, that might be enough to give them exactly what's needed for a massive comeback, surely.
They're going to need to be very careful here.
I don't think they can do it, Lily, but maybe they can prove this wrong. Splashdown comes out, does get the splat. That's a crucial splat, but can you follow it up? Bubbles coming out from the right side. Able to minimize damage. Baller does come out though towards the zone. Is able to get the nice splat, but no, the baller explodes precisely in the middle of the two zones and is able to force loss of control exactly when they need it.
Trying to hold zone at overtime is always scary and stressful. No matter what.
Stressful is probably the great adjective to describe that match. That was something to see there. And it will be Kanai that is able to get off to the early lead there. Dexterity, though, showing plenty of promise. This will be a close set. Admittedly, still best of 3 we're seeing, but I kind of fully expect us to go to a game 3 at this point.
Yeah, honestly, the way things have been going so far, I wouldn't be surprised. They're fairly well matched.
So that being said, game 2 up ahead. Tower control on Wahoo World. Man, these maps are fire. Okay, cool. Big fan. So how might we see changes between game 1 and game 2? We saw on Kanai's side, I believe, the interesting pickups of the nozzle nose and the splatling, and I wonder, is that something we can kind of expect to see continue? I would wager yes.
Splatling, yes. If either of these players or teams can play snipes, they're typically good picks on TC Wahoo. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Explosher drop, though.
Right.
Nozzle Nose has been getting a lot of play lately, though. That's not a terribly weird pick.
Yeah.
It's just odd. It's a little bit odd, but not way out of left field. It's not like they came into a tournament playing Sploosh, you know?
Right, yeah. Definitely niche.
Yeah.
And hard to play.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Explorer drop. And if anyone can play a sniper, that would be a good pick here. But we're going to definitely see some Stingray weapons. What is tower control without Stingray?
A balanced mode.
Yeah. But that's not the world we live in, unfortunately.
What would be like would there be like a dominating special to replace it? I'm trying to think, but like I don't know.
No,
yeah,
not really.
I think just across the board we would just genuinely live in a better world if that was not the case. But we're not here to focus on what a better world we could live in looks like. We're here to focus on the world we live unfortunately in, which is a one with Stingrays, and that is going to be what we're going to probably see a good bit of here going into the next 4 minutes and 47 seconds of the game. Siren getting a start off to the right side of the map as it looks like a fairly aggressive start, but Siren noticed it, probably called it out to his teammates with that nice look over, peek over the wall, seeing that Ingarmer has been activated, so they were able to ready themselves, maybe back off appropriately and kite their positioning in a way that makes sure that they can stay alive on this one.
Yeah, that flank is something you really need to watch at the opening of a match because without fail, there's someone going that way to try to kill you.
Yeah. Now Siren, the rest of their team, they were able to get 3 down at the beginning. Fortunately enough, we are going to keep our eyes on the meter of Kanai here. They do have them building up a full roster. Now 3 players left to go, but they are getting back to tower and not too much damage taken in the process, honestly. It's a defensive effort you do want to see. If you are forced on defense, just getting to that first checkpoint is good. Dexterity being on the defensive. But Dexterity here, it looks like they're able to get a shot onto Neppy. But will that be enough, though? Super jump back to base from the purple side seems to indicate as much.
Do you ever see so much paint in a court you wonder whose base you're in?
Yeah, it's kind of just what happened, actually. It's actually especially on this world map, because it's so, I don't know, it's like the way this map is structured is, obviously, like a lot of other maps, sure, it mirrors itself, but the way the ring around the rosy kind of goes on this one, it really, like ones on the map, as you said, just blurs into each other. We'll see Song on the tower, although only for a few seconds there. Kanai doing what they can to push past that first checkpoint, but I don't believe it will happen for them quite yet here.
A full wipe for them gives Dexterity a little bit more time to move into mid and get some control back, which they desperately need. There's a lot of purple on this map right now.
Squishy biting their time. I'm not exactly looking for a super jump, but just to be able to know where and when to dive on in. And apparently the answer is now and off to the right, but not with too much support from their teammates. Have to be wary here if they might have, had the opportunity for Kanai to shoot down the baller, but opting to not, and instead Kanai playing safe and appropriately so. I mean, still half of the match left to go, and really they're still very much in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Kanai's feeling too much pressure right now. They're just kind of taking it easy, moving into mid as they can, getting some paint, pushing that sniper away. They're just taking it easy here.
That's fine, for now, but 60 points isn't like
That's
definitely the
far
most
from a dominating win. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the most dominating, but here we are in the middle of a firefight. One trade versus another being taken out. Yawa here pushing up for Kanai, does get the hit marker, but able to avoid just for a second longer before getting sniped on out and caught up by Squile there. Squile there able to help get another one. That's a double here coming in for the sniper here, as they're able to help reset back to neutral and maybe get one of their first pushes going of the match. Well, not one of the first, but one of the more substantial ones coming out.
This is the time. They need to be on tower now. Especially with that Ray baited out. They need to keep that moving.
Squile able to effectively kite themselves for a little bit longer before getting taken out by Neppy. Unfortunately, the front line in front of Squile, in front of that sniper, it needs to be able to put up some splats before Squile can really be the most effective they can be. And now Kanai, on their half, will be able to at least put off the offensive for now and delay into the last minute of the game. Now, Neppy here does notice that one player was caught out by the sniper and is going to take the cue to play a little bit more seriously as a result. But with the rest of their team playing and taking notes from Neppy, just playing simply defensively and sharking in positions to maybe catch some of these incoming specials. But will that be enough?
We can hope. That was 3 specials all used at the same time on the side of Dexterity. Hopefully that will give them the upper hand needed.
So that was coordinated well at the same time, sure, but I don't think that was used in the most benefit. But I mean, to Kanai's credit, I think what was actually really effective there was them being able to back off from those and avoid just the incoming fire.
Absolutely. And they had 3 specials that they all used at the same time, but there's no one on tower. And having the specials to push tower doesn't really help if you're not pushing tower,
Yeah. Well, 5 seconds left. Squishy's hoping their teammates can do something here or else they lose the set. Squishy able to shark at least 1 kill. That might be huge here, but Stingray is here to stay for just a second. Super jump comes in. Squishy took a gamble, and it might have paid off. The baller on the tower now to ensure that they don't get directed or anything like that.
The baller can't be the only one there.
But you need to get on top.
I was gonna say the baller cannot be the only one on tower. That's not...
That's not how that works.
Not in overtime. You get knocked off so easy. Good to have it there. Not good to be the only one on there.
And I think that's a moment where you press F in chat for Dexterity. Unfortunately, they will be the ones to go down in this best of 3 set, and Kanai will be the ones to have the slimmer of